In today's video, we are doing a little Q&A, but first of all, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Marlene, and I asked my subscribers if they had any questions they wanted to ask me. I asked on my social medias as well, and the question just poured in. I've written them all down. Yes, I'm a good old-fashioned pen and paper kind of gal. So we're going to go through the questions today, but I will say nothing was off limit. So there's some personal questions in there as well. But a little Q&A just for those who want to know. Let's get stuck into it. With no further ado, I'm just going to jump into the questions. I've written them down as they came in, so there's no kind of real rhyme or reason to them. But Kathy asked me, do you have a price limit when you're doing hauls? And I don't have a price limit on a particularly one single haul, no, but I do have a price limit to how much I spend in a month. And you have to consider the fact that I could, let's say, spend 200 euros on one haul, and then I might return most of it, but that 200 euros will have to come kind of back into my budget before I can spend it again. So I do have, like, my husband and I had a very kind of intimate conversation about money when I started my channel, how much money we could comfortably afford for me having to kind of float out there. So I do have a price limit, but it's not on a single haul. It's more like on my channel in an every given month. I hope that makes sense. I'm just going to string that answer with Vivian's questions, because she asked how much of the clothes that you purchase do you actually keep? And she also wants to know how many wardrobes I have, but I'll get back to that. How much do I keep? I am extremely critical of the amount of clothes that I keep, because I do have 3 wardrobes. I have one for shoes and handbags, and then I have one here in our bedroom. It's a walk-in wardrobe that I share with my husband. And then I have a spare bedroom further down the hall here, which is just basically a bedroom, which has been made into a wardrobe. So I have a lot of space, but I also have a lot of clothes. And I'll touch upon this later on, but because I am in the process of losing weight, I know, we'll talk about it later, I'm becoming even more critical. And as I'm getting older, I'm getting more critical. And the longer I've done this, I'm becoming more and more critical. So I don't actually keep a lot of it, maybe 1 out of 10 to 15 pieces. That's about the height of it. But you can only use so much clothes. I can only wear one outfit a day. I do not have the time to change several times a day. So I hope that answered. Very little, very little. And that ties in with Jean's question, who is asking, could we have a wardrobe tour? And yes, you can have a wardrobe tour. It's not very aesthetically pleasingly looking. My wardrobe that I share with my husband stays private. He does not want, obviously, his clothes on screen, which I don't blame him one bit. But my shoe wardrobe and my big wardrobe, the spare bedroom, you can definitely see. I'm actually thinking of filming a video where I do a big closet clear out, because it's desperately needed. So I'm kind of thinking of doing that, and then, you know, closet tour, closet clear out kind of thing. You never know. It may happen. We'll see. We're changing gears for a minute because Tina has a motherhood question. She's asking, did you feel you lost your own self-image when you had children? And if so, how did you get it back? I think, like most others, our lives get so busy when we have children. Our lives just revolve around our children, and it's very easy to lose yourself in it. I think it happens for most parents, so know that it is very normal. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It happened for me without a doubt. And I would say, and I can only speak for myself personally, what worked for me. So take it as suggestions only, all right? For me, it was asking for help. Standing up and saying, guys, I need help. Ask your parent, your partner, your children, your loved one, your friends, whatever you have in your life, ask for help. Obviously, if you have a serious mental health problem, if you're not feeling well, go and ask a doctor for help. That's how my journey started. I will point out, I asked the doctor for help, but I was lucky. The help was granted immediately. And I then went on to see a mental health nurse who taught me some tips and tricks about self-care and how I could kind of get out of this rut. I will say, again, this is my own personal suggestion. So ask for help. Ask your partner, especially if you have one, to give you a hand carving out some time for yourself. And that's my second point. Carve out time for you. Just for you, not to do chores, not to be mommy and catching up on the laundry. No, not to be a better wife or anything at all, to spend time with your partner, which is very important as well. But you need some time that is just for you. An hour or two, whatever you can carve out, that is just for you, where you do something that you love. All right. It's very, very difficult to do. Trust me, I know. But when I started putting my foot down with my children, who are now older, and say, this is it. Mama needs time for herself. Shoo, go. You're old enough to take care of yourself for a couple of hours. When I started doing that, that's when the cloud started lifting a little bit from my head. And I feel so much better. absolutely so much better. I will say getting back to my exercise has been absolutely detrimental for my mental health as well. I am slowly recovering from, long COVID. I've had long COVID for about 2.5 years now. And it's only now that I'm starting to get back to some training. I'm still not back to my beloved martial arts. That might have to wait some while again, but I'm finally back in the gym. So I'm doing a little bit there, but it's a slow process. Everything is a slow process. Get some exercise in there. Even if it's just a stroll around the garden, it doesn't matter. Get some exercise in there. What else do I do? Do you know what? That is kind of my main key points. Ask for help, carve out time for yourself, get some exercise in there, and do the best self-care that you can. Oh yeah, be kind to yourself. Absolutely. Know that this is absolutely normal to be lost in motherhood or parenthood. Absolutely normal. You're not alone. We all feel it. It is okay that you're not feeling well right now. But it's also okay to ask for help and reach out. It's okay to talk about it. It is okay to admit, not just to yourself, but to others as well, that you're struggling. Because being a parent is bloody hard work. It is the most rewarding job you could ever have in your life, but it's also the hardest, without a doubt. So just know that it's perfectly normal. Know that we all feel like this at times. Reach out for help wherever you can, basically, and then be kind to yourself and do something for yourself. Next up, we have Sandra, and she says, you inspire me with your fashion style. I would love to hear about your fashion journey that brought you to where you are today. I don't really know what aspect of it that you want to hear, but it's a very long story, I suppose. But I suppose when I was 17, I finished business college, and I went on to work in a clothing shop. I decided to take a 2-year apprenticeship in a clothing shop. And that apprenticeship focused on management and how to run a store and everything, the logistics of running that shop. Now, it was back then, unfortunately, the shop doesn't exist anymore, but it was part of a huge chain. And some of the chains still exist today, but that's the supermarket side of it. You probably have heard of it, Netto. Yeah, Netto. Netto had a clothing shop in Copenhagen as well. It's the same company. And I worked in those clothing shops, and it was a fantastic place to work. I worked with the fashion. We learned a whole load during our apprenticeship, and then I went on to work in management afterwards, etc. And I stayed there until I met my husband, and we kind of moved on to London. But when I was in Copenhagen, I was a size, I'm guessing a size 18, 20 maybe, or something like that. And the clothing shop that I worked in, that chain of shops, was one of the very few places in Copenhagen, not taking private owned boutiques into account, but it was one of the only few chains that actually had a size extra, extra large. Just like H&M, they had a bit of plus back then. But I've always felt very limited in what I could do with fashion. And for many years, I just kind of wore what I could. Obviously, we had to wear a uniform for work, so that was quite easy. But when I think back on my fashion choices back then, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. There wasn't much thought to it because I just had to kind of buy what I could get in my size, basically. Then we moved to London after I met my husband, and I realized how many stores there is. And when we lived in London, I think I went up to a size 24, 26, the heaviest I've ever been. I was there. I was miserable living in London. I'm sorry, dear Londoners, but I didn't like your town. I was absolutely miserable. I really was. And then we moved to Dublin and back down to limited choices again. And then I moved here to Donegal and have the kids and stuff. And again, I wore what I could get my hands on, basically. My husband has always been very supportive when it comes to me spending money on fashion. I was very, very blessed like that. But it wasn't until online shopping actually became a thing and you could start ordering stuff online. And because I live so rural, we were very, very late at getting the internet and full access and all these sort of things. Even now, we're kind of last in line to get any upgrades. That's okay, it is what it is. But it wasn't until about a year and a half before I started my YouTube channel that I really got back into fashion. For many years, as I said, I literally just wore what I could get my hands on. I tried to dress nice and try to look nice, but there wasn't much of fashion choice in it. It was based on what I could get my hands on in my size and how to best hide my belly because I was ashamed of my body. And when I started posting, it was because I'd lost a bit of weight and I felt better about myself. And I started posting my outfit photos, and it just kind of rolled from there. I realized I loved the praise that was coming in with the comments and stuff. And I was like, oh, hold on a minute. And then the comments got a little bit more serious. And it was like, oh my God, you inspire me. This is so wonderful. I wish that I had for years had someone that looks like us, and I look like you, and it's fantastic. And that's when I realized that there's so many people out there that didn't have anyone on social media that looked like them. We had no role models when it came to fashion, because fashion back then was like, you know, in magazines and on TV and stuff. And I don't watch TV, I never did. So it was kind of born out of a need to find someone who looked like me. So I had role models, and that's when I started searching on the internet. I started searching on YouTube, finding women that had not only my size, but also my body shape, but also was my age. Realized that there was hardly anybody out there. And that's when my journey really took off. And I took about a year where I was just kind of posting on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. And then that's when I decided to start my YouTube channel, and it's really just taken off since then. So really getting stuck into fashion, you've seen it here on my channel, because it is as it is. You can follow my journey through all my videos, but it's been about 3 years now when I've really submerged myself in fashion, and absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. But it's been a long journey. That's kind of like the overview of it. I hope that answers your question. It's a very, very long answer. Next up, we have Diane, who's asking, tattoo art info, please. I've seen you have one on your shoulder, and I'm just curious about people's art. Well, there isn't much to tell about it. I have a little bird on my shoulder. It was supposed to be a hummingbird, but to be honest with you, it's not the greatest tattoo. I'd love to get it redone. I would love to get a footprint of my puppy Lucy and kind of stamped over the bird to kind of cover it up. But whether or not I'll ever spend the money on it, I don't know. There isn't much kind of to tell about it. I just loved it. I always loved hummingbirds. I've always loved birds. And it was a present from my husband. He thought, hey, you want a tattoo? I'll buy it for you. So that's kind of it. There's not much to say to it. Diane also asked for some motivation for a closet decluttering. And it's not a problem personally for me, because I absolutely love decluttering things. I will say break it down into smaller pieces. Do one shelf at a time, one drawer at a time, one rail at a time, or one section at a time. Let's say, okay, today I do all my jeans, for instance, etc. And give yourself a time limit and say, okay, I need to have this done before, give yourself maybe 2-3 months, or whatever your time limit wants to be. And then break that down and say, okay, I have so many drawers, so many shelves, I have so many rails, etc. And then how many weeks do I need this for? Do I want to do one a night? Do I want to do one a week? Do I want to do one a month, etc.? What is my goal? I will sit down literally writing an action plan for it. If you want help here, a little bit of self-promo here, I actually offer help with decluttering. Now, I physically can't be in your home to help you because I live very rural, but I do an online consultation where we get started on a decluttering, and I will teach you all the tips and tricks of decluttering and organization and care for your stuff and all that stuff. And you can see all those things over on my website. I will leave the link to the website down in my description box. So if you're interested in some help with the decluttering, or even if you are looking for some personal styling help, I am a qualified personal stylist, so I can give you a hand with that as well. I'll leave the link in the description box if you want. But yeah, a good decluttering, there is nothing better. Next up, we have Tina again asking, fashion-wise, if you had to choose one item of clothing you have or haven't worn to wear for the rest of your life, what would it be? And Tina, she says, mine would be my grad dress. I assume that means graduation dress. One clothing that I could only wear for the rest of my life. Oh, honestly, I think probably my wedding dress. That was the first time when I put that on, it was the first time in my entire life that I actually felt beautiful. And I had lost a lot of weight up to my wedding. I lost 3 stone just before my wedding, but I just felt so beautiful in that dress. And it actually still hangs in my wardrobe. 20 years on, I've been married 20 years now. And it still hangs in my wardrobe, and it still gives me goosebumps remembering how I felt when I wore it. Unfortunately, I can't fit it again, but it is my goal to get back down into it again one day. But yeah, my wedding dress, I would say. Yeah. And talking about weight, as you know, these Q&As are the only time here on my channel that I allow talk about weight. And I cannot hide it any longer, I suppose. because not only have I gotten a few comments about my weight, but I've also gotten a couple of emails. I've had a couple of girls asking me, are you jumping on the bandwagon? Did you have surgery and all these sort of things? And no, my dears, I haven't had surgery, and nor am I planning on jumping on that wagon of having surgery. But yes, I have lost weight. I have lost weight because I have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I had to. I'm not doing anything specific. I'm not following any diet, anything. No, I am simply just being more mindful of what I eat, and I have started exercising. I'd already started exercising before I got diagnosed with diabetes, but I guess I'm taking it a bit more serious now. This has been a huge kick up the backside of taking care of myself and yeah, taking the time for what I need to. It's why you may see me commenting less here on my channel. It's why sometimes I'm missing a video. It's why, especially on my social media platforms, I don't comment as much, even on my posts, but people leave comments, because I have to get better with my time. I'm an absolute workaholic. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, I have not taken good care of myself, and having been sick for now 2.5 years, it's been very difficult taking good care of myself. But now nature has told me that you have to. So learning the hard way, and that is what I'm doing. I will have to continue to lose some weight. I don't know how much weight I'm planning on losing, but I definitely need to lose another couple of stone, that's for sure. I don't know if numbers matters, but I've lost about a stone and a half or whatever. Yeah, simply just by changing the way I eat. Obviously I can't eat sugar anymore. So, and that's the huge downside for me, because it was sugar I was addicted to. I am addicted to, but I'm literally just eating better and taking better care of myself. So that's really what's going on. So yes, I have lost weight, but only because I had to, I suppose, if that makes sense, for medical reasons. And no, I have not had surgery, and nor am I planning on having surgery. Next up, we have Larina. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. And she's 2 questions. First is, how do you balance your work life with your YouTube channel? My work life is my YouTube channel. YouTube is my full-time job. I am very blessed. I work from home, and I'm not dependent on my paycheck. What I make through my work is a bonus in our lives. My husband, he's the one who is the provider of the family. He takes care of that side of it. So I live a very, very blessed life, but the actual day-to-day running of it is done with a huge help of my children. And then the weekend when my husband's home, he helps out as much as possible as well. We do it by simply divide and conquer, basically. We all do chores. We all have things we do. My eldest, for instance, she loves cooking, so she does all the cooking for us, which has been very helpful with diabetes as well, because I have no interest in food and I hate cooking. So Emma's kind of taken over that part of life. But between us, we get all the chores done, and we just kind of work around the schedule of everybody. And I put my foot down and say, right, Tuesday, for instance, I'm filming Tuesday, so I can't do this, whatever. And then those days, like today when I'm sitting here filming, Emma, she's minding the dogs for me. She's preparing our dinner, and she's doing a bit of laundry and taking care of all the chores and stuff. And I film then while the other 2 are at school, and then I do my school run. So between the whole lot of us, it's definitely a divide and conquer. It is a team effort, without a doubt. It's been very difficult transition going from being a stay-at-home mom, focusing on being a stay-at-home mom, to being a working mom, but I'm very blessed. Very blessed. Larina's second question is, I'm not sure whether I'm a rectangular shape or an apple shape. I hold my weight on my stomach and with a flat back side. What shape of jeans or trousers do you recommend? Thanks a million. I will say, first of all, you need to know your shape, and you can do that by doing your measurements. I won't go into details here, but I am in the process of creating a video on how to find your body shape using measurements. I need to kind of get working on the video. I have the script written. I just need to get it filmed. So I will take this as a sign from the universe to get that video done. But once you know your shape, that's when you can determine what suits your shape better. I myself am a rectangular apple shape. My measurements, sorry, the dogs are barking. My measurements makes me a rectangular, but if you look at my shape, I'm actually more of an apple shape. So it kind of depends, and I would say what to wear, it's very much up to you. Us apple shapes, it very much depends on how much you feel happy showing. For me personally, I'm happy enough showing my visible belly line. Not most apple shapes don't want to show it, and that limits you a bit. I will say personally, for me, I love myself a wide leg pair of trousers. I love anything that skims over my belly, to be honest with you. which is normally a looser fit, but you do need to balance it with a tighter top because otherwise it just makes it look bigger. I will say, to be honest with you, if you want help with this, personalized help, go and check out my personal styling consultations on my website down in the description box. It's the best way to kind of do it. But it sounds like we have very similar shapes, so maybe just watch my videos if a personal styling session isn't for you. You would think you guys have planned these questions together because Sam next is asking, how did you get past not hiding your stomach? And honestly, Sam, I don't think it's something I got past. I think it's something I have just learned to live with. That's being honest with you. It's been a lot of hard work, and there's the mental aspect of it, and then there's the physical aspect of it. And the mental aspect is a lot of positive affirmations and complimenting myself. I literally give myself a compliment every time I see my own reflection in any kind of surface. It could be in the oven door and I would say, oh, hey, beautiful. Oh, those arms are looking great today, or whatever. And I'd work my way around my body, even mentioning compliments in things that I didn't feel confident in, like my belly. But I would say to myself, that belly's looking snatched today. And my brain may not believe it immediately, but I repeat the compliments over and over and over again and allow no negativity. When my brain starts jumping over, it's like, oh no, it doesn't look good today. Oh, you're so fat. I remove myself from the reflective surface, and then I just say, nope, that's not how it is. And then I go back to the reflective surface and I give myself the compliment one more time and say, oh, that belly looks snatched today. So it's kind of only putting positivity into the brain, but it's a huge effort to do. You have to be really committed to wanting to feed that positivity into your brain. As for the actual physical aspect of it, I could be trying out something at home. First, when I started tucking in my t-shirts, that was a huge thing for me because for my entire life, I always had everything over my stomach to hide it. But what I actually did was I did a French tuck to start off with, and then I wore the French tuck around the house. And like, my family wouldn't really say anything to it because we are own worst critics, and they didn't really notice. But when I start asking, what do you think about this? How does it look? And they would like, oh, that looks great, Mom. Don't get me wrong, my family would very soon tell me if I'm wearing something and they don't really like it, but that's okay. But I would test it out at home and let my family see it, and then I might just, might wear it for a quick trip on the school run, or if I'm going in for a carton of milk or something, and just kind of test it out and see how I feel. And layers, in fairness, layers are my best friend to this day. Layers are still my biggest thing on days, especially when I don't feel that confident, or if I'm a bit more bloated or whatever. Layers hide the tummy. I can still tug in, I can still follow my rule of third and all these sort of things, but layers are my best friend. But yeah, there's the mental aspect, the physical aspect. The two has to work hand in hand. You have to actually put the time and effort into it, but it most definitely is possible because our worth has nothing to do with the size of our bellies. Lauren is asking, do you have a current favorite comfy at home item of clothing, a work item and a glitzy outfit? And honestly, the answer is no to all three. My at-home kind of clothes is probably what I'm wearing now. It's tracksuit bottoms and a sweatshirt, but this is something I put on when I'm just kind of chilling in the evening, unless I get ready for bed as soon as I finish working, which I often do. Then I just throw on my jammies. So no. And as for work, I would say my black blazer is the one thing that I keep pulling out of my wardrobe and I work with at all times, no matter how I feel. But an actual work outfit, what you see me wear on screen, that is what I wear. So no. And glitzy outfit, I don't need them. I don't really tend to go anywhere where a glitzy outfit is required. So I'm afraid it's no to all of them. Sorry. Vivian is asking, what got you interested in fashion? And I think I kind of touched upon that earlier on when we were talking about my fashion history and stuff. But what got me interested in it, I think my interest in fashion more lie in the fact that I never felt that I could join in because of my size. That is definitely what spurs me on now to share and to kind of do what I do now. So yeah, I think that's probably it. But even thinking back, I think it was more to do with my size and not feeling included. That's kind of where my main interests lie. I hope that makes sense. Janelle is very kindly asking me, Marlene, how are you doing? You've said in a few videos that you are going through something. And I don't remember saying that, but so I'm not really sure in which connection it would have been. But obviously I'm going through all this with diabetes and learning a whole new lifestyle and learning to take care of myself in a completely different way now. That has been very tough. The menopause is also starting to knock on my door as well. So I'm having a few health concerns with that, but I'm under supervision with the doctor, so I'm okay. As for the long COVID, it is slowly easing. It's very hard to know what's going on because of the long COVID, and because obviously even the doctors don't really know what to expect with the long COVID because it affects us all differently. So it's hard to know what is menopause, what is diabetes, what is actually long COVID. And what else? Then my mental health. My mental health, without a doubt, is kicking my backside at the moment. As I think I mentioned earlier on, that it's why you see me being a little bit more quiet on my social media platforms and stuff. I'm trying to take some more time for self-care and just looking after myself better. But I have a huge, wonderful team around me and my loved ones. They are doing everything they possibly can to help me in my everyday life, and even from afar, my family that lives abroad. Well, it's me who lives abroad from them, but yeah, they're all at my side and they're all helping me get through this. So learning to ask for help has been the hardest one, without a doubt, but this time I had to do it. I had to learn to take better care of myself. But I'm a strong cookie and I have a great team around me, so I'm okay. But thank you for asking. Next up, we have Benjamin asking, how many times do you wear an item before it is discarded or donated? And honestly, a direct answer, I don't have an answer, because some items I absolutely wear till they are falling apart. And I'm embarrassed to say that yes, I have sold and donated pieces that still had tags on it. It's sad, but that's the way it is. It leads me on to the whole subject of sustainable fashion as well. And I think I got 3 or 4 emails about sustainable fashion. And I will say there's a reason why I stay away from questions about sustainable fashion, because it is such a loaded question, and no matter what my answer to sustainability in the fashion world is going to be, it's going to blow up in my face. I am without a doubt a huge part of the problem in the fashion world, because I order a lot of clothes. I also keep a lot of clothes, but I order a lot of clothes, meaning it's still being made, it's being produced, and it's ruining our environment, getting all this fashion through the door. The flip side of it is, as a plus size person, I have extremely limited options when it comes to actually getting fashion, never mind having fun with fashion. It's extremely difficult. It's such an extremely loaded question. I would love to know if you know of any places that sells affordable, sustainable fashion for plus size. Let me know. I would love to do some reviews on some businesses that genuinely works with the sustainability and the environment and all that sort of stuff in mind. But how many times, Benjamin? I'm sorry, I don't have a distinct answer for it. I try to minimize my footprint as much as I possibly can. That's all I can say. And I'm learning every day. Benjamin had a couple of questions, and next up he's asking, what is the most important aspect of an outfit? The feel of the clothes, the color, the fit, etc. And for me personally, I have to say it's the feel of the clothes. It's not like how it feels on my body, but how it feels, how I feel when I'm wearing it. Of course, all the other things matters as well, but if I feel confident in an outfit, then I'll wear it. If I don't feel confident, if I feel unsure or self-conscious, then I will do something to correct it so I feel confident. The feel of the clothes on your skin, of course, the colors that matches your skin tone, the fit of the item, etc. All of that matters as well, of course. But yeah, the feel, the how you feel is what's the most important thing. Next up, we have Lisa, and Lisa's asking, Marlene, I hope you're okay. I've noticed that you have become a little bit more short with your replies in the comments. Just want to check and make sure that you're okay. And Lisa, you may have seen my post that I did a while ago about that I'm changing things up a little bit on what I comment on and what I allow in the comments and my replies as well. And you're absolutely right. I have become a little bit more stern, and I've definitely started blocking a few more people, because I knew what I signed up for when I took on being on social media, but it's very much about how people kind of present, because I'm all for an open, honest conversation without a doubt, and I have no problem with people having different opinions than I do. Give me a suggestion, present it as your opinion, and I'm happy to listen. So most importantly, this was all born out of, I have a couple of people from the trans community that follows me, and we message in private and stuff. So hence why I know how they feel. They felt that they were not welcome because of the comments on their comments. Not from me personally, but that really got my back up, because I will not have that. Everyone is welcome here, and I don't care how you identify. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what size you are. I don't care what sex you are. You do you. There's room for us all, and this space here has to be a positive space. It's why I only ever talk about weight in my Q's and A's and never mention it otherwise. I hope I don't anyway, in any of my other videos, because our weight and size and all these sort of things, it doesn't matter. there's room for us all, and I want this to be a positive and respectful space. So yes, I have got a bit more of an edge. You can probably hear it in my voice now as well. I do get rather defensive on these things. But yeah, it's all about how things get delivered in my comments. And honestly, I have just gotten to the point now where I'm like, listen, I can personally take it, but I don't have to take it. So block, delete, whatever. And yeah, there has to be room for us all. And I expect all comments to be respectful, not just of my choices, but of everybody else's choices, not just on the subject of what to wear, not what to wear, but the choices that we make in life. So there's room for us all. And my space is a positive space. And with that comes all the comments about swimwear and underwear. Am I going to do some reviews on swimwear this summer? I might, if companies reach out to me and ask for reviews. Otherwise, I probably won't be doing them because I don't like water. I don't go in the water unless I have to, so I don't need swimwear, and I don't want to spend my money on it, even the shipping, returns, and all that sort of stuff. I'm not bothered. So if companies reach out to me, yes, I'll be happy to do swimwear for you, but I won't be buying it myself. I hope that makes sense. As for underwear, the answer is point blank no. There will be no underwear reviews. As much as I personally, I do have a couple ideas that I would love to do, but it was one of the few conditions my children, when we started talking about this, about me doing YouTube and stuff, they were like, please don't do underwear. They struggle enough when I do swimwear and when I do shapewear. But as going for like undies and, bras and stuff like that, I will not be doing any reviews on it. Not because I don't want to, but because my children would like their mother not to be standing on social media in her undies. That is the point blank of it. So I'm not going to say never. You never know. My children are growing and care less and less about what mommy does. But their friends, parents may still be seeing me on Facebook or something. And, they think it's embarrassing having their mother standing on Facebook in her undies or swimwear or whatever. So yeah, that's why I don't do swimwear very much. It's why I don't do underwear at all. So I hope that answers that. The last question is also from Benjamin, and he's asking me, he asked about how did I first get interested in fashion, but I think I've answered that. And then he's asking, is it easier to shop in an actual store or online? And there is no doubt that as a plus size lady, online is the easiest. Also, I live extremely rural, and New Look was the last shop in my local town that actually had plus sizes in them, and last I was there was not a sight of anything in plus size, so I assume they've removed the plus size section, meaning online is the only way to go. I live too far away from anything. I just have my local town, which is about half an hour away from here, and yeah, online is the only way. But in fairness, I'm not much of a shopper. I don't particularly like shopping. I know. And then I end up doing what I'm doing. It's strange, I know. But I don't particularly like going shopping as such. So online suits me the best. Anyway, so that's the answer to that. But that is all the questions I got in. I think I got them all anyway. There was a lot of questions. I was expecting maybe 4 or 5 questions. 3 pages I think we had to go through today, but I hope if nothing else that you have learned a little bit about me, and I hope it's worth watching. But that is it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.